My hat! Alright, great. So you finally got tired of the little caps popping off of your factory Traxxas vehicles, or bending shafts, which is the next problem after you replace the caps. These are the shocks to go with. So we have the longs and the extra longs. Now these happen to be the blue. So if you look at the part number, this is just, let's see, here we go. So we have TRA 7461. That gives you the blue anodized. If you add an X to the end, it gives you like a gunmetal color. And then the rears are the extra long. These are TRA 7462. Again, if you add the X at the end, it'll give you the gunmetal looking ones. And for springs, I'm actually going to go with blue for this setup. And these are the ones meant for the rear. So the part number is 7449. And I'm going to do this front and rear. And I really do like the way these blue springs work in the front. Now, in here, these are very well packaged. Very, very well packaged. Now you do have some instructions here on how to completely disassemble and reassemble. If you need to do some heavier maintenance, such as rebuilding, you do get oil, shock oil. I am not going to be using this oil because I'm going to be using a different type of oil. If you're going to use that oil, the process is still the same. And we have the rears here. And again, packaging, great packaging. And once again, we're not going to be using this oil. Here are the rears. Now, the caps are plastic, but that's all right because the body is aluminum on these shocks. So you don't have to worry about them popping off. I've never had one of these pop off. And keep in mind, I use these on my drag car. I've used these on so many Slash vehicles. Installed these on my buddy's 4-wheel drive Slash as well. You can follow him on Instagram at Rod's Reels RCs. Just check out his Slashes. There we go. I mean, he's got some other cool stuff like his TRX4 Sport. But anyway, these are very durable. So the only thing you have to do is just take the caps off. Make sure the bottom is tight. Remove the top cap, and it just screws off. And then all you're going to do is you're just going to pour oil inside. So for my particular setup, I'm actually going to be using 47.5 in the front, and I'm going to be using 35 in the rear. Your setup is going to be different. If you're just running loose dirt, you're probably going to use really light oil or much lighter oil, maybe like a 30, maybe even a 25. But if you're going higher traction, you're probably going to use heavier oil in the front just so your car or your truck, your Slash, doesn't traction roll as easily. It will slow down your response, your suspension response, but at least you don't traction roll as much. To be honest, really high conditions, carpet, you don't have to worry about it. There's so much traction anyway. All right, and then just push the piston up and then bring it back down so you can see the bubbles. You should be able to see those bubbles. Just rise and go to the top. Oil. You're just going to do this a few times. Do it slowly so all the bubbles will come up. Once the bubbles are gone, you can add another drop or two. The other thing too is if bubbles aren't going away, you can grab a thin driver and then just kind of poke it, and then the bubbles will disappear. Something else that you want to have on hand is a towel or a rag, because you will be spilling some of this oil, and that's normal. So you grab the cap, place it on top, and then spin it left until you hear it kind of click and sit, and then spin right. And the reason why is because these are plastic caps, and you don't want to mess up the threads. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten it all the way, and then I'm going to push this up, let it go down. Actually, there's no pack. Not really. Huh, interesting. I guess I put just enough oil. All right. Well, let's see. So I'm going to open a little, bleed any of the excess out. Hold, turn, tighten, and then wipe off clean. And that's it. To be honest, this one was a lot easier than I was expecting. All right, so we're going to do the other one. Yeah, sometimes it takes a little more to bleed them. That's it. That's a lot of air. Then just add oil. There we go. All right, so grab the cap again, turn left. Once it clicks, then go right. And the reason why is if you mess up the threads, then you have to get new caps, because then the caps will pop off. And this is probably one of the reasons why I've never had a cap pop off for any of these, because I've never messed up the threads yet. All right, so right now what I'm doing is I'm just compressing it, and then I'm about to unscrew this and bleed it one more time. All right, so I'm just loosening it just a little, compressing the piston or the shock. Now I'm tightening up the cap, cleaning the excess, and that is it. So that's it. Shock number 2. It's complete, and these are the bags with the hardware that come in. So I'll go ahead and open these up. This is for the oil that we're not going to use. Again, I'm not going to use that. All right, perfect. Here we go. So now you grab these. Actually, grab the spring first. Let's open these up. So again, we're running rear springs on the front because I find these to be more consistent than the springs meant for the front. So rear springs on the front find to be more consistent, more predictable, more linear. All right, that's it. Now, all you have to do is don't forget to put this in here. Now, notice in here and there, these are going to go in through here. There's that little cutout where you can see where the screw should go through. And these are very important. If you don't put these on, these things can actually kind of jump out, or the spring can actually come off of this, and then your suspension can sag, or worst thing that could happen is that thing falls out and you lose it, and then you have to go out and buy new ones. But that's it. So this one's complete. That's the front one. If you're doing these on a 4-wheel drive, this is all you need to do. If it's a 2-wheel drive, you have to replace these bottom ones. And just use the turnbuckles, the same ones as the turnbuckles, the smaller ones, they fit. That's what you need to do. So let's go ahead and assemble this one. And that's it. And again, look for that little section there. See how it looks different than this one? This is where the screw goes in. And to be honest, this is pretty simple. If you're out there, you're 10 years old and you're thinking, hey, I want to get in the hobby and I want to hop up some stuff, you can do this. You definitely can do this. All right, perfect. All right, this is for mounting the shocks. So I'm just going to put them there. Now we're going to do the rears, and the rears, we're going to go ahead and do 35. The rear shocks will take up more oil because they're significantly larger. There's a lot of air. Probably dropped about, the oil level dropped about 3 millimeters. All right. So again, grab the cap, go left first. Hear the click, then go right. Should be smooth. Grab this. Right, it's tight. Now, this here, when I get to that point, there's a lot of resistance. That's called pack, and I don't want that. That's too much resistance. That'll just end up damaging my cap probably, or causing this to bend, although these are very, very strong. They're much thicker than the regular slash ones, and I can show you right now a quick comparison. So this would be your stock rear. This is the GTR. I mean, just notice the difference. The difference is huge. Also the bodies. I mean, it's a massive difference, which is the other reason why I strongly recommend that you go with these. But anyway, you want to get rid of that. At least I do for my application. So this is the reason why I compress it and then I just open this up. That's what I was doing. And then I bleed out the rest. There's a little bit of oil that came out with some air bubbles. And then I close it back up. And then once it's closed, I'll release it. And now the shock does what it needs to do. I mean, it's still going to push out, but there's no longer that tough resistance. So if you ever replace the oil on these or you rebuild these, if you have pack in there, you're just going to blow those caps off. Now for the final one. All right. Oil, that's good enough. And again, go left first. Hear the click. Now go right. And click this. All right, so again, some pack in there. So I'm just going to compress it, and then I'm going to turn this. And this time I'm going to get a little closer to the camera. I'm going to try to turn the spring, see if you can see those air bubbles come out. Oh, no air bubbles. That's good. Anyway, saw a little bit of oil. On the other ones, there were little air bubbles that came out with the oil. Perfect. And so let's see. Now I want the springs. All right. There's a size difference between the front and the rears. Not quite satisfied with this one. Should be about the same. Yeah. I think I already did it. All right. Both of your shocks should be the same if you want consistency. So here, let me just add a little more oil, and I'm going to do it again. All right. Here we go. And we're going to do the same thing. Just click on. There we go. And again, notice the side the screw is going to go in through. Something very important with drivers, do not get drivers that have a rubberized grip here, because as you work with oil and you get oil on your hands and that oil starts getting on that rubberized grip, it's going to make it tacky and sticky. Which is why I like these MIPs, it's just plastic. There's some other brands too that make some fancier aluminum ones that you don't need that. There we go. Oops. There we go. Just wipe some of that excess oil. Alright. We are good to go there. And now the last spring. And this one goes through here. There we go. It's about the same. Right, good. All feel about the same. Perfect. And that's it. So definitely go with the GTR shocks for your Slash, Bandit, Rustler, Stampede. They are the way to go.